What's going on, everybody? We got more disturbing TikToks I don't want to watch alone. So I'm glad you're here with me. Without further ado, let's dive in. We spent the night at near Area 51. You won't believe what happened.
First thing I noticed is that more and more vehicles were arriving as the sun was going down. But after a while sitting there in the dark, things started to get interesting. The first thing I noticed was a light appeared on the ground. It was too faint for me to see with the naked eye, but through my nods it showed up very bright. This was indicating to me that the hatch was most likely opening to the underground silo. Wow, this looks crazy. You got it rotating up there on that pylon.
What type of transmission beam is going on here?
Truck down there making another pass. I don't know why they have their hazards on.
Some type of abduction beam or something.
There's a reason in this world why spells are written backwards, why words like live spell evil backwards, and why devil spells lived backwards. It's because the fallen angels who followed Satan to rule earth didn't just disappear. They came here to rule the earth, and they still do. Let me explain. Okay, let's start with the book that was removed from the Bible, the book of Enoch, that tells us about the 200 fallen angels, the watchers, who descended onto Mount Hermon. They didn't come to guide us. They came to corrupt us. They taught mankind forbidden knowledge, the making of weapons, sorcery and enchantments, astrology, and even vanity like makeup and jewelry. They altered human destiny and gave birth to the Nephilim, the giants who devoured the earth. Now, why did they take the book of Enoch out of scripture? Because ultimately it revealed too much. It exposed Satan's playbook in a way that Rome and the early church didn't want you to know. They wanted control over doctrine, not for humanity to wake up to the rulers behind the curtain. Now, this is where it gets real. We have around 200 nations. The world is carved up into dominions, just as those 200 watchers divided authority when they fell to earth. Now, it gets even deeper. The earth carries nearly 200 massive impact craters. Science calls them meteor strikes, but Enoch calls them falling stars. The angels were cast down from heaven, leaving their scars across the land. Now, it gets even deeper. We have got a place called Kazakhstan. The capital of Kazakhstan is called Astana, which is literally an anagram for Satan. And it also stands the Palace of Peace, a giant glass pyramid with a glowing capstone, a mirror of the all-seeing eye that we see on the US dollar bill. And at the very top, we have a meeting room that has exactly 200 seats at the very top. You know, immaculate, fit for angels, where world religious leaders gather every 3 years in secret. A hidden temple for a false world religion. And right outside this pyramid, you can see on the floor a little symbolic occult emblem, shaped with the solar cross and trident, echoing the very sigils of the Baphomet. I don't know if you can see it, but I can certainly see the shape of the Baphomet with the star at the top. And what does Hollywood do? They give you Borat, making Kazakhstan look like a third world joke. So no one ever really looks twice at Astana. But here's the real kicker that they don't want you to know. In gematria coding, Borat and Astana both equal to 233. That's 2 times 33, the highest number of occult Freemasonry, doubled. So when you ask me, Are the fallen angels still here? My answer is yes. Their fingerprints are everywhere, in our nations, our money, our symbols, our architecture, and even in the language that we speak. They removed the book of Enoch to blind us to this reality. But prophecy always leaves a trail. The 200 watchers didn't vanish. They're still in power. And the script that they wrote thousands of years ago is still unfolding right underneath our eyes. But obviously, that's just my opinion. This is just for entertainment, and I'm as fictional as a dinosaur, baby. There's a reason.
It makes you wonder, what else did they take out the good book?
Fallen angels teaching humans how to do things that they never were meant to know how to do.
Exactly.
We see that in an ancient document, and we often look at this stuff as like they happened.
Right.
But why can't it happen still, right? Like same thing with like the idea of the Nephilim. So somebody recently, I forget who it was, had said to me, and they weren't being mean or anything, but they were just saying like, you believe in the Bible and Genesis 6 and all that. Yeah. And they're like, all right, so Noah's Ark happened and the flood happens, and you've said and other people say that, you know, they're to wipe out these abominations, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, do you think that Nephilim existed after the flood? I'm like, yeah, Numbers 13:33 is clear about that. And they're like, how did that happen? How did they survive the flood? And wouldn't God know that that would happen? And why didn't he stop it? Right. That last question,
Great questions.
I don't have an answer for. But the first one is very elementary. But I'm like, if it happened once, why can't it happen again? Put it this way, it was documented once in scripture.
Right.
But if we don't treat the Bible as an all-encompassing timeline of all of time, and we look at it more like this is what you need to know book,
Mm-hmm.
then it opens up this possibility to say, there are things that happened that maybe we don't even totally understand, that would
100%.
blow our brains, that happened, that's not in the scripture. And we will never know, even if it was a possibility, until we get to eternity.
Yeah.
You know? And so like I say that to say, I just think that it happened again. Or maybe these things have supernatural abilities, which I definitely think they do.
I do.
And
Yep.
could they have just transcended to another realm?
Right.
Just gone to another
Now they're
realm
back.
to exist there? Because when we see, you know, in Enoch, it says that demons are the dead spirits of the Nephilim. Well, if demons are interdimensional right now,
Right.
is it far stretched to say that they could have been interdimensional when before they were quote unquote demons and they were Nephilim here on earth?
I don't think so.
I mean, like
No.
your father is a supernatural being.
That's right.
And your father's teaching humans how to do supernatural things. You don't think they're going to teach their kids the same thing?
Is there an old-world power generator hidden beneath Niagara Falls? There was a series of power-generating facilities built beneath Niagara Falls, allegedly between 1853 and 1924. There was a lot going on in the 1800s, wasn't there? But could these facilities predate the 1800s by centuries? And they just don't want us to know how old they really are. The power station was still in operation right up until 1956, when it was flooded and collapsed, destroying 2/3 of the plant. But was this simply just an accident? Because it seemed to be working just fine up until then. So could it have been sabotaged by design?
Now, all of that is curious, but I will say this building in Niagara Falls quite got my attention. Now, officially, they stopped building buildings like this because of efficiency and cost. But do you know how much money in tourism a place like Budapest brings in because they have these massive ancient buildings? Anyone doing the numbers, running the friggin' numbers, you will know that it is an amazing investment to build something like this. But it's not being done today. You know why? Because they want you not inspired, not thinking holy amazingness like this. They want you thinking gray and glass and metal boxes like all the skyscrapers in our cities. They want to take away the individual. They want to put you in a monotony. Come on. When you're in front of it, it is literally shocking how gigantic it is. Very old world. Now, it is known that there's many subterranean parts of Niagara Falls which are closed off to the public, we will not really likely know the full story of this. And I wouldn't even looking in archives, like, yes, it is cool to see old newspaper articles about what was going on. But even back then, there was censorship. So we may not know the full story until who knows. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below and follow for more.
Is there an old
Is this building still there by Niagara Falls? Does anybody know? Uh-oh, guys. We got a reptilian shapeshifter spotted. We got to see this.
This guy runs off when she realizes he's a reptilian. He is not human. Look at this. Look how he runs. What human you know runs like that? Reptilians always disguise themselves as humans, but you'll know deep down inside something ain't right.
He did take off like a frog or dog. What in the world is going on? All right, guys, I love when we get these. Guys, I love it when we get these close-up of these Tartarian buildings. Let's take a closer look.
You guys are silly. Look at this thing. 1913? This lady's like, I can't even believe it. Damn right. This might be the silliest one to date. Come on. Come on. Who's that? Mr. Grand Central himself? Another griffin or an eagle? Come on, man. Come on. At least I didn't lie. Say it took a year. They said it was a decade. Yeah, right. Come on. Who are these people? And why would they build this for a train? You know what I mean? Like, is that the god of tracks? Or something like that? Come on. Make it make sense, Grand Central Terminal. All right, so this is right behind it. More statues, more designs. What is that, the Chrysler building? Just more weird things hanging off the side. And then this monstrosity. Come on. Come on. What is it? Is that an eagle or a griffin? I gotta get inside there. Stay tuned.
I think that is a griffin. It could be. What is this?
I am coming back. Yeah, I know I've been saying that, lady. Calm down. Make it make sense, Grand Central Terminal. This is on the side. What is that? The snakes again? Grand Central Station. Whatever those things are. I don't even know what those are. Water buffalo? And then nothing to see here. What is going on? Oh, more lions. Make it make sense.
Imagine the view looking out on the city from there. Man. Quick thinking dog walker prevents hot air balloon disaster.
Leo!
Man, that was a close one. Look at these power lines. Thank goodness they're okay. He is fully committed. What is going on here?
Came down this way.
I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large.
At exactly 11:50 p.m. on April 30th, 2023, Las Vegas police officers witnessed something extraordinary. Their body cam captured a bright, glowing green spear of light tearing across the night sky. And only 40 minutes later, 16-year-old Angel Kenmore had called 911 from his family's backyard. His voice shook as he told dispatchers.
Okay, what's going on over there?
Okay, lady. Me, my dad, and my brother, we're working on a truck in our backyard, and we have a big lot outside, right? Correct?
Okay.
We was working, and we just see in a corner of our eye something fall down from the sky, and it was with light, and when it hit down, it was like a big impact, and we felt it. We felt like an energy, and then we hear like a lot of footsteps near us, and then we have a big equipment, and we see, and there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and it's looking at us, and it's still there.
When officers arrived, they took the call seriously because of the strange light they seen in the sky. One of the officers said,
"My partner said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious."
Multiple family members had backed up Angel's story, with his father, mother, and brother all confirming that they witnessed the same beings. Officers had searched the backyard, but the official body cam footage of this moment was redacted, removed due to privacy issues. And within days, the case was marked unfounded and quickly closed. However, the family had footage and they would release it on YouTube a week after the incident, with many people analyzing it, claiming that an alien is actually visible in certain parts of the footage, right as the family walks out of the gate. In 2024, Scott Roeder, a crime scene reconstruction expert, analyzed the footage using motion tracking software and claimed that he identified 2 figures right outside the gate using what he believes is cloaking technology, appearing smoky and unclear to the camera. In the weeks that followed the actual encounter, the family claimed that they were harassed. They reported sightings of suspicious vehicles and men in black suits lurking near their property. Do you believe these were actually aliens? Comment your thoughts down below. Software.
How crazy was that? Look, that's right when they opened the door. You could see almost like the invisibility technology, these aliens or whatever they were. They was like, all right, activate cloak, and they on to us. We ran out of juice or something. But man, how creepy is that?
Photo. It looks like it's crossing the river. It's an amazing photo. This is what he writes. "My cousin was kayaking on the Cass River in Michigan when he took this picture. Not sure what it is, but I've sent it to a few people to see what they say. Some say it's Bigfoot carrying a baby Bigfoot. Others say it's a Bigfoot carrying a deer. Personally, think it's carrying a large infant, and I will zoom in and show you some characteristics. The creature is also pushing a wake of water. There are some shadows on the leg of the creature that people think is a costume bunching up. I've already gotten some comments. I did a blog about this. Its arm is sticking out, creating a shadow on its upper and lower thigh, and you can see that the hand's up there comforting the infant that's on its left shoulder. Near the water, at the crotch section, if you will, of the Bigfoot, is the infant's foot. The infant does not look like a newborn baby. It's fairly large, perhaps maybe half as tall as its mother or father that's carrying it across the river. Something else that stood out to me is the creature's making a wake. That wake in the river around it, it's creating. So I don't think it's an inanimate object. These people say they have a video, and every time they try to send it, it sends this photo. So I'm going to work with them and see if we can get the actual video of the original photo. It looks like it's crossing the river.
I thought Bigfoot was like near Yellowstone or Canada, but it sounds like it's breeding and making its way through. This does look like it's holding an infant or a deer, just like he said. How creepy is that? And you can see his reflection in the water just to add to the validity of this photo. What do you guys think? Always create new pathways and unlock hidden potential.
Did you know how your brain cells learn? When a person learns a new skill or concept, the neurons in the brain create fresh connections, forming new neural pathways. These connections, called synapses, expand the brain's neural network and strengthen information processing. This process is scientifically known as neuroplasticity, and it continues throughout life. It shows that the human brain has no limits. At any stage of life, one can build new pathways and gain new abilities.
This is a really powerful practice. Check this out.
If you have an intention, you take a pencil, you write it down, you're actually doing something physical, tactile, then you read it silently, then you read it aloud, then you visualize that, and you do that over and over and over again. What that will do is then embed that into your subconscious, and then these different cognitive brain networks get activated.
This is how you infuse your mind with intention. Your goal engages motor memory. Reading it aloud creates internal repetition. Visualizing it lights up the same brain regions as actually experiencing it. Do it consistently, and your subconscious begins to treat that imagined outcome as familiar, safe, and inevitable. That's how neuroplasticity works. Repetition builds reality. Try it and take your power back. This is.
Wait, have you ever been to Antarctica? Yeah. Do you believe in the ice wall?
Yeah, I saw the ice wall.
Huh.
Yeah, he saw it too.
I can't say on stream.
No way, but we'll talk about it later.
Let's just say you always need someone with you when you're in Antarctica.
Are you serious?
Okay, so Mr. Beast admitting to the ice wall, but then not wanting to talk about it any further on stream. What are your opinions of this? Was that a genuine discussion? Was it just clickbait? But honestly, we've seen this before. We've seen Shaquille O'Neal, Mike Tyson, Rampage Jackson, a bunch of other sports figures and celebrities talking about that they're not afraid to discuss it. And what does this mean? You know, if it becomes a mainstream topic, are we going to be like, and be worrisome? Or are we going to be like, all right, we were trying to spread the word in the first place. Let's keep going. You know, with this growth rate, it's an accelerating growth rate. So every year, more than it did the year before. In about a decade, 50% of the world will believe in. The other 50 will still believe it's a globe. What does that mean? Are we done? It's like, oh, it's gotten too popular now. Let's skip town. Or are we going to be excited because that's what we were shooting for in the first place? Or does it even matter? What if it becomes such a political issue that it's literally in politics?
What in tarnations is going on? How are Simpsons doing this? How? It's the same number football shirt. Number 17. I mean, I know the world is a script and everyone's got a role to play, but how? These so-called predictions only affect NPCs, non-playable characters. The world is a stage, and they follow their script, and we follow God's script. So what does this really teach us? This teaches us that this is like the Truman Show. Some of the people that are around us are just actors, playing a part, playing a script. The Simpsons was a TV show that's been on telly since 1982. And every now and then they will show a certain episode that seems to play out in the future right in front of our eyes. The only way that is possible is by the environment that we're in, the people that we're around. It's all scripted. It's like a movie. They've got their script. You better follow God's script. So the next prediction that they're saying is that aliens are gonna come down and start burning things up, brother. I don't know about that. I think that's only gonna affect the NPCs. For people like me and you, I think we're gonna be good, brother.
Look at this. Found a new one. New cathedral. Look at this one. Got these pillars. story. We got these angels up here. Just wow. I believe that's Noah's Ark. Some biblical stories. That thing in the sky, it's always impressive. But yeah, look at that. Get a good look at that. What a beauty. These cast iron doors. Jeez, everything is just so beautiful. It looks very old. Let's give you one more look around. Look at the thickness of these. Look at that. It's not facading here, that's for sure. And this is like a concrete, a refined concrete, but you know, it takes a lot of skill to do all this. Keep that in mind. Yeah. Get a good look at the story. The design work, immaculate. I mean, look at that. Look at that view in specific. That is so much. Wow. Look at this. Found a new one.
This has to be one of the most detailed cathedrals I've ever seen. It remains a mystery. To chisel that out, to put each individual face on there is something on a whole different level.
So the mark of the beast might be here. I don't know if y'all seen, so Bill Gates has just introduced his plans to have everyone get an electronic tattoo under the skin that will replace smartphones, meaning it'll do everything a smartphone can do and more. Mind you, this is for Agenda 2030, which is in 5 years. The things that this mark will be able to do, it will be able to know your health. So it'll know exactly what your health status is, exactly what medicines have gone into your body, exactly what medicines your body may need. It'll be able to track every single thing internally as well as externally. Even more than that, it'll be just like Apple Pay as well, to where you just put your palm on whatever card reader system. You'll be able to pay for things. You'll be able to open up Google and be able to type and scroll, and it'll be manually downloaded into your brain. Essentially, once you get this mark, you seem to be half robot, half human, which is insane to me that no one is seeing it. And everyone's just like, oh, it's just so cool that you'll be able to know. Oh, read your Bible, bro. Revelation, when it talks about this mark, it says that you will not be able to buy or sell lest you have this mark. In essence, saying that you will be able to buy, sell, trade, and all those different things if you do receive the mark. And so this mark will have qualities that you will be able to have in your forehead or in your right hand, on your right hand. If this doesn't spell out the technology for the mark of the beast, I don't know what else will. So if people don't wake up and understand that the Bible is real, and how aren't people seeing the Bible unfold right in front of us on a day-to-day basis? All you gotta do is read it and then you'll see it. Things that were written 2 and 3 and 4 and 5,000 years ago are coming to fruition today.
Damn, so are they saying he's already got the Neuralink? Is that really the mark of the beast or what? But what's up with this armor? It's got an upside down cross and a Baphomet on the chest. Alright guys, we have an orb caught on security camera. It almost looks like it's underwater, but it looks like some tumbleweed to the right. Some type of vegetation, so I don't think it's underwater, but man, what is the orb coming out of a hole? Is it coming from underground? What on earth? What is going on? What did they block out? Somebody blocked something out in this original video.
Hey y'all, check it. Look how deep the water go. They just showing you how deep they went. The water is way deeper. Get it? Look at this. Oh my God. Watch this. That's deep. And guess what, guys? It's still going. Give it. Oh, it's still going. Why they got this scary music in the back? Got me scared. Yeah, who goes that deep though, man? You see the caption? This is just as scary. It's out of space. And it's music. It's still going. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh, stop. Look at that. Oh my Dang, look, look. Oh, oh.
It's still going. How deep does this go?
It's still going. Oh my God. That's it, right? That's not it? Oh my. Oh no. That should be about it. Yeah. That's not it. That should be it. Oh. This is all they just go so far. It's more out there. That's crazy. No.
So the Marina Trench is the deepest part? Fascinating. We're officially in Dark Waters 9 now.
Alright, y'all check out this footage from an Indiana and Notre Dame game. You see that UFO flying in the back? I slowed it down for you so you can see. It looks like it's coming out of some type of portal or something. So just watch as it casually flies by. Somebody in the audience had to catch that. Look at that. Alright, y'all check out this footage.
That was definitely a UFO going through a portal.
Hold up, y'all. Did y'all see what happened to Nicolas Cage? This man was in Greece filming a horror movie about Jesus, a biblical horror story. And while he was filming, they went into a cave and bees, a whole lot of bees, just swarmed this man and started stinging the shit out of him. Y'all better stop playing with God. People that was on the scene said that shit was out of nowhere. The way they swarmed them. And I know why. Y'all know why too. Who the makes a horror story about Jesus? They had this man in a cave looking like this. God be telling y'all, stop motherfucking playing. If that's not a sign from up above, I don't know what it is then. Do y'all notice that every single time that Hollywood try to do some little weird, wicked games and come up with these weird movies to try to mock God, Jesus, y'all notice some weird shit always happen to them, right? Not even some weird shit, some crazy shit. Some of y'all be thinking, it's just a movie. It's just entertainment. No, bruh, this is a spiritual war. I'm going to say this loud and clear. Y'all better stop playing with God, because every time y'all do, he shows y'all who's really running it, who's really in control. And when it comes to Hollywood, they're not in control. Hold up, y'all.
Didn't in Passion of the Christ, like the cross gets struck by lightning or something like that?
Bro, let me get a slice. I'm man hungry. I'm man hungry. Let me get a slice. Let me get a slice. I'm man hungry. Nah, I'm just playing, bro. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
He was going to give him a slice too. That's something I would do. But you can tell he was trying not to be bothered to himself.
We have got a brand new Mandela effect, and you are not going to like this one. I'm going to show you a few images so we can establish what's actually fact. We can all agree that this is Michael J. Fox right here. That he played Marty McFly in Back to the Future. Are you sure about that? I mean, I have the original VHS in my hand right here. And if you don't want me to ruin this for you, you need to scroll away now. Because this actually exists. And that is not Michael J. Fox. That is actually Eric Stoltz. Well, somebody could have just made that cover. Really? And this. And this. How about this? Here's the two scenes side by side. Eric Stoltz, Michael J. Fox. And how about this scene? Where Marty goes back in time and sees his dad. Michael J. Fox. Eric Stoltz. Like I said, I have the original VHS, and in my timeline, it's Michael J. Fox. When I saw this yesterday, we got two timelines merging. Somebody really good at making a tape that makes it look like it was from the 80s. I mean, look at the box right there. It's even got things on the edges. I have the one I feel is real. Explain this to me.
Well, add it to the large, long list of Mandela effects.
What exactly is a mirror? Stupid question, right? Or is it? The more you think about it, and what I'm about to say, you actually wonder more what is a mirror? And is reality encoded with invisible mirrors? Proportioned just right to make our own eyes and brain deceive ourselves. Later, I'm going to show you exactly how your own eyes and brain do this to you. They say that the world is a stage. Is this current construct like a mass optical illusion type of concept? And to what extent are we already in the Matrix? So Matrix, They Live, Truman Show, all commonalities. And they all use lenses, mirrors, or actual glasses, sunglasses, lenses, in order to show the symbolism and see into the other realm, also tying into the Vietnam original night vision, the red night vision, and the diocesan goggles, using lenses sort of to see beyond the firmament or other dimensions or into the spirit realm. Oracle seer, second sight. Anyway, are mirrors actually portals? The CIA also had something called Project Looking Glass, which I'll again come back to, and the mirror being defined as a looking glass. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Or is it magic mirror on the wall? Which is a Mandela effect. Which one do you remember? Again, all of these bullet points are themes that are tying in, and you're going to come down the rabbit hole if you want and see where they go. It's all related to invisible tech and brain warfare. and mirrors everywhere. Quantum mirrors on top of mirrors, and Biff Tannen's alternate reality, Lucifer's Funhouse. Let's look for the exit sign. Mirrors are mysterious, spiritual, and a big part of the illusion of the framework of this simulation, especially the hijacked version. And the further it gets from God's actual creation, that's what's manifesting here in this place. And like simulation theory, but with a meaning. With simulation theory, there's this feeling that it doesn't mean anything. But with creation, it's kind of the same thing, but it all has order, purpose, meaning, and goodness. It's kind of always what the Bible said. A creation that's encoded with testing and observation, a real original source world that's dimensionally above us. This is what the Bible has always told you. The mental swindle is to interpret it all like it has no meaning. Have you ever had the thought that the firmament is like a dimensional barrier that acts like a two-way mirror, as in they see us, but we don't see them? Watchers, real-life Truman Show, now playing on an Earth sim near you.
I always did think of the firmament as like a two-way mirror.
You say a lot that the Bible is historically accurate, okay? So if you had to choose one chapter out of the Bible that illustrates that, what would it be?
Well, I could choose just about any chapter, but there's one that comes to mind that's impressive, and that's chapter 10 of Genesis. Now, if you look at that, it's a bunch of this person begat this person, this begat, that begat them. However, that record has many, many dozens of ancient peoples, the origins of different nations, and they are linked together. There is the great archaeologist, W.F. Albright, he's considered the greatest archaeologist ever to have lived, said there is nothing like what is called chapter 10 of Genesis, the Table of Nations. Nothing anywhere in history like it, because it shows ancient nations that descended from Noah, through his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. We can even discuss them through their accuracy. Those three sons, and the nations that flow from, which constitute all nations. But the relationship of all those people with each other is borne out by that record. So now we have a record that shows how the nations were interrelated as they developed after the time of the Great Flood.
Okay.
So that chapter is incredibly accurate, is incredibly detailed, thousands of details in that chapter. The average person, the average Christian reads it, it's just a bunch of begats, so he begat him. It's a lot more than that. With all the interest in genealogy, that would be a chapter to study, because genealogies are extremely important. They make for claims of property claims, inheritance, familial relationships, groups of nations, communities, how they're related, languages that are related. You superimpose, or rather you bring into the discussion in chapter 10, language development, the ancient languages. It gives you an incredible amount of detail that supports biblical truth. Then on top of that, we now have DNA studies. So the languages, the DNA studies, the interrelationships of peoples, the ancient world, that chapter is a guide. It's a remarkable document. Like W.F. Albright said, there's nothing like it. Nothing has been discovered in the ancient world that shows the accuracy of the history of nations from the time of Noah on.
You can't quit now. You've risked way too much. You've worked way too hard. I know, it's tough. You're probably thinking, well, I might as well just go back to what I was doing before I stepped out of my comfort zone to chase this dream, because it was way more comfortable there than it is right here. Well, it's going to be uncomfortable when you're getting to where you need to go, where you're getting to where God's called you to go. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but you just got to ride it out, and you got to keep having faith, and you got to keep trusting in Him, and you got to keep taking those steps to get to where you know you want to be and where God wants to have you. It ain't going to be easy. Nobody ever said that. That's the biggest lie about Christianity, is like, once I give my life to Christ, everything's gravy. No, if anything, it gets harder. Don't quit now, son. I love you. So does Jesus. Keep on keeping on. Come on now. You can't quit now.
Men aren't forged in comfort. Masculinity is born in the furnace of affliction. It's in suffering that the boy dies and the man is reborn. The Puritans had a doctrine, the early settlers of America, that in order to be able to ascend, you first had to descend. In other words, you had to go on the hero's journey. You had to go into the darkness. Now, there was a risk that if you went into the darkness, you might not come out. You might get lost in the pain, in the trauma, in the suffering. You might get lost in victimhood. But the only way ultimately to ascend was to go through that process of descent, and ultimately you could only ascend as high as you descended. That's the hero's journey. That's the furnace. But here's the truth. You cannot ascend until you first descend. You cannot taste resurrection until you first taste death. And Christ himself showed this, that suffering is the catalyst for rebirth. So when it gets dark, when it feels like hell itself is aligned against you, don't quit. Don't run. Don't stop. Put one foot in front of the other, because it is in the arena that the man is crowned, where scars are forged into strength and where despair is transformed into destiny. Psalms 23:4, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Brother, the valley is not the end. It's the passage. And the furnace is not your grave. It is your rebirth.
Oh, Lord. 6G is coming in 2030. We just got done with 5G.
In 2030. That's the public launch. But testing began years ago in controlled zones across Virginia, Osaka, and EU smart grids. And here's what they won't tell you. 6G doesn't connect your phone. It connects you. In 2023, DARPA and ATIS ran a closed pilot across federal buildings in Northern Virginia. The tech? 6G presence nodes, powered by terahertz bands that don't just transfer data, they mirror you. Each user's gait, tone, even heart rhythm became part of the signal loop. The system adjusted light, sound, even push notifications based on real-time biometric drift. It's called adaptive ambient sync, and it's not theory. In the Arlington test zone, over 200 participants unknowingly entered what the internal logs labeled a behavioral sync cluster. Result? 68% changed walking pace within 90 seconds. 52% began mirroring posture. Average voice pitch dropped 12 hertz across the zone without prompt or audio cue. This isn't cellular, it's presence modulation, backed by Samsung's 6G white paper, verified in Hexa-X testbeds, and buried in Appendix 9 of the Defense Communications Futures Report, black-barred until last quarter. 6G is coming in 2030.
If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. All right, guys, I want you to feast your eyes on this excellent mine crystal. Fluorite mineral is all that we have for this. But looking at it, it definitely is showing us multiple colors. It looks like we got purple, orange, blue, 3 different blues. This is an extraordinary piece. If I had to name this, I would call it Petrified Dragon's Beak. Metal Man in the Sky? Oh, Lord. Let's take a closer look.
Video. That's as far as it goes. On video. I'm thinking the video. Goes like, what the hell?
What is going on? Do you see that? Oh my god.
I don't know.
Who's the video recorder?
Video.
Call it. Oh, see it? Oh my god. What is it?
Why?
Oh my god. Oh, God.
I don't know if the phone is doing this justice, but it's a blood moon right now, man.
This joint is red, like really red. But yeah, man, it's live right now. I don't know if you guys can see it from your parts of the country or wherever you at. Go check it out. Joint is bright red right now. It's crazy. Can y'all see that? I don't know how it's registering on the camera. Like, if you see it, it's probably not as red on the camera as it really is in person. But yeah, man, it's wild. That's my Presa Canario back there, barking at something or somebody. Yeah, man, Blood Moon tonight, Friday night. No, is it Friday night? Man, I'm all over the place. Yeah, it's like Friday night, pretty much. Yeah.
And Apollo is in the sky Apollo is in the sky talking to her. She's giving out jabs. Here's a really good one. Dua Lipa standing on a hexagon in the sky with Polaris behind her. When I was in Greece, I'm walking down the street and I look over at this pharmacy and look at what's there. Like, this was just like a random pharmacy. And in Revelation, it says that she deceives all of the nations via pharmakia. This can't be coincidental. Like, why would she be like a hole in the wall, like as if it's the firmament? Gets even weirder when you look at them talking about the Holy Spirit in Proverbs 8. Does not wisdom call, does not understanding raise her voice? On the heights beside the way, at the crossroads, she takes her stand. Beside the gates in front of the town, at the entrance of the portals, she cries aloud. This is just standard blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. That's exactly what this is and what this is trying to trick people into. I also saw this in Athens. It said, "Are you ready for the big reveal?" And it's called the Red Radisson. So I went and found the website. This is in there. So you have the Victorian outfit with like a red helmet, I guess to be like a truth in plain sight, and whatever this is, and a whole bunch of pictures just like this. And if anybody was wondering, in Deuteronomy 28, when the Israelites are of pictures.
I believe that's the king's guard. Really stand up gentleman, if you ask me.
The subject for the morning has been an object of considerable controversy. And back in the old medieval periods, there were very elaborate works dealing with magic. Magic sometimes uncertain, often unsavory in those days. Dark circles at the crossroads, haunts, various forms of black magic. All these finally gathered together under the general term of the astral light. The word itself, of course, is a perfectly innocent word. It really means, essentially, the effects of the stars, the convergence of star energies upon the atmosphere of the Earth. We have a feeling of what they do when they affect us, by astrology and by weather and by numerous meteorological reports. We are informed, at least in part, of starry influences. But the effect of these influences upon the Earth's subtle atmospheres became the basis of an elaborate structure in magical thinking. First of all, we have to follow the general pattern of antiquity in the discussion of the planet itself. We think of the planet Earth as merely as a sun of balls surrounded by some atmosphere and floating in a great sea of space. This is not the way the ancients looked at it. They considered the planet to be based upon the same general pattern as the human being himself. Man has a physical body and he has invisible principles operating through it. To the ancients, the earth had invisible principles. The earth was not merely a lump. The earth was an organized structure, a structure that was capable of supporting life and passing through innumerable vicissitudes and changes of itself. There was not only a visible earth, but an invisible one. There was not only a physical earth, but there was a superphysical one. And the invisible structures of the earth, like the aura of the human body, were energy fields. And these energy fields were involved in the evolution of everything that exists in nature. All the kingdoms of life are nourished by the energies from appropriate levels of the energy fields. A large part of magnetic healing is the result of energies being directed either by human consciousness or by various medicinal substances which carry these energies. Therefore, the whole planet is a vast organism, a tremendous, vital, dynamic structure, of which we in our daily living see only the outside and the surface. Beneath the surface is not just simply vast strata of rocks and volcanic forces. The invisible part of the earth is a tremendous being, for as the ancients put it, the earth is alive. The earth is a living thing. It is not simply a body or an object. Everything that exists in some way or other is alive. There is no death in space, but constant transformation. So the earth itself was a being, and in the mythology of the ancients they had appropriate deities to symbolize not only the earth but all of the separate parts of the earth's structure. The earth has its own mind, its own emotions, its own vitality. It not only is able to support life, but it is able to direct life. It not only brings us all the different forms of energy and life which we know in daily living, but it is behind this a conscious, rational power. Now, most people today, of course, don't believe this. Science has taken the attitude that man had the mind and the rest of nature was in existence only for man to tamper with. But this is not the way antiquity viewed it. The ancients were convinced that there was a tremendous vital power behind the physical form. Researches on the magnetic field of the human being have justified the realization that man also is both visible and invisible. The invisible part of man is sidereal. It is an energy field, it has its own memory, it has its own records, it has its own morality and ethics. And when a human being with his mind transgresses the ethics of the magnetic field, he gets sick. Because everything in nature is constantly laboring towards an equilibrium which will keep things as nearly in order as possible. So we look at the earth now as a kind of world with many levels. The Egyptians did the same thing. In the old tombs there are still old diagrams showing the levels of the planet and of the solar system and of all the invisible beings that dwell therein. The Tibetans and Buddhists had the seven heavens, and so did the Christians in the Apocalypse. All of these mysteries are now counted as merely aberrations. Well, some of them probably are aberrations, but what is an admiration? What is it that causes the individual to create fantasy? What is it that causes him to emotionalize every fact of his living? There has to be an emotional energy or he cannot do it. There has to be a mental energy or he cannot think. There has to be a vital energy or the body could not be repaired in case of sickness and the growth of the child would be impossible. So everywhere there is life behind the scenes. Now, as soon as man began to recognize the possibility of life behind the scenes, he wanted to get to look at it, to find out about it, to do something with it. He was not content simply to live in a mystery. So he went to work, but unfortunately, he was not well equipped for the job. The energies which he was seeking to understand were also in himself, but he had never done anything with them in himself. He had never attempted to organize his own life and bring it in harmony with the universal purpose. He was determined to take this universal purpose and force it into harmony with his own purposes. So there was a conflict here, and out of this conflict, magic was one of the byproducts. It was one of the experimental structures in which the individual was attempting to understand the energies around him, moving through him, and variously conditioning him. Among other things, he discovered that his mind could control not only visible and physical thoughts, but invisible thoughts. The mind of the individual could create thoughts. And where are thoughts? What are they? How are they born? Do they live? how do they die? Here is something that we pass over. We don't even try to explain these things. We say we had an idea one morning. Where did it come from? Was it any good? How do we know that it came from us? Did we borrow it from somebody else? And is this idea useful or useless? Is it constructive or perverse? Is it helping something or hurting something? These problems we have no way of estimating except through the old esoteric doctrines that have descended to us from minds such as Paracelsus and Pythagoras. The ancients definitely believed that the individual had a field of energy around him which could and did affect his life, that he also could poison this field with his own thinking, that he could destroy himself, and that phenomena such as drug addiction and alcoholism are aspects of the perversion of energies, that they are the sickening of the field of the imagination that surrounds the body. So we have a problem that goes back to the dawn of time as to what is imagination, how does it work, and is there a solid structure there, and how can we direct it, or how does it direct us? All this was part of ceremonial magic, became involved in the Kabbalah, and has more lately taken its place in metaphysical psychology. All of these elements, therefore, must be brought down to some level where we can use them, where we can find out what they're doing to us or what we are doing to them. At the present moment, the astral light is largely the product of what we have done to it. This field is a kind of field of the ghost world. It is the field of the invisible, but in the subject for the morning.
That's it, I guess. I apologize, y'all.
For those who don't know, Victor Schauberger was to water what Nikola Tesla was to electricity. He was a recognized genius, known as the water wizard. But what was his wellspring and source of genius? This is what he had to say on the subject, and I quote, "Already, from earliest childhood, it was my deepest wish to understand nature, and through this come closer to the truth I could not find at school or church. I was repeatedly drawn to the forest, where I could watch the flow of water for hours on end without getting tired or irritable. At this time, I did not yet know the water is the bearer of life, or the source of what we call consciousness. Totally oblivious, I let the water flow past my searching eyes, and only years later did I become aware that this running water attracts our consciousness magnetically, takes a piece with it with a force that is so strong that one loses consciousness for a while, and involuntarily falls into a deep sleep. And so gradually, I began to play with these forces in water, and I gave up this so-called free consciousness, and left it to the water for a while. Little by little, this game turned into a very serious matter, because I saw that it was possible to release my own consciousness from my body and attach it to the water. When I took it back again, the consciousness borrowed from the water told me things that were often very strange. And so the searcher became a researcher who could send his consciousness on expeditions, so to speak. And this way, I found out about things the rest of mankind has missed, because they do not know that people are able to send their free consciousness everywhere, even where the seeing eye cannot look. This so-called sight practiced with blindfolded eyes finally gave me ties to the secrets of nature, which I slowly began to recognize and understand in their own fabric. And in due course, it became clear to me that we human beings are used to seeing everything backwards and wrong. The biggest surprise, however, was that we human beings let our most valuable part drain off as useless, and from all the great intellectuality that flows through us, we retain only the crap. Victor Schauberger.
That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, hit your boy with the Super Friday banger. When you put Super Friday banger in the comments below, it lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video and you really rock with your boy. I just want to say thank you guys for your support. This was Disturbing TikToks I Don't Want to Watch Alone. Till next time, see you later.